Well, absolutely. And firstly, good morning, Priyanka, and let's start by looking at Wall Street. Then Wall Street is coming off a mixed trading session. The 30 stock Dow rose more than 228 points, or 0.5% thereabout, to close at a record high. So those were the kind of levels that you saw coming in for that there. It was a largely mixed handover coming in, because when you take a look at the S&P 500, you do have gains of about 0.1% thereabout. Nasdaq Composite lost about 0.5%. So those are the kind of moves that we're looking at now. Investors, of course, on Tuesday will be passing through retail sales data for August for one final glimpse into the health of the U.S. consumer ahead of the Fed rate decision, and that's the one that we've been watching out for. And the Wall Street really is on standby for the Fed's long-anticipated rate cut, a move that could, of course, help boost earnings growth for companies following a backdrop of steep borrowing costs as well as high inflation. So that really is something that we're really watching out for. And the Fed first embarked on its aggressive hiking campaign in March 2022. So it just does remain to be seen what really happens in terms of what the Fed does. Now, traders are currently pricing in a 67% chance that the central bank will be easing rates by 50 basis points. So it's just what is currently being penciled in. And in other economic news, of course, you do have industrial production as well as manufacturing production data that is due out for August, along with September's National Association of Home Builders Market Index as well. So that is something that we're all watching out for. When you take a look at the European markets as well, European stocks closed lower as investors passed for that bumper week of interest rate decisions from the U.S. Federal Reserve as well as the Bank of England. So that is really something that we're watching out for, Priyanka. But what is really the picture that is shaping up in oil?
All right. Well, oil has been the key news to track on. Oil price has climbed nearly 1%, but the news is not good here also. It's on the reason behind the price rise is hurricane impact, and that to be ahead of the U.S. rate decision. So that means crude, which was already consolidating at lower levels, some respite has come in, that in sense of the oil prices have climbed in when nearly 1% on the Monday, and that was because of the ongoing impact of the Hurricane Francine and output of the U.S. Gulf of Mexico, which is offsetting the persistent Chinese demand concerns. So there has been concerns about the fears of slowdown across the globe, US, China, and that's what has kept the oil prices in check. In fact, that was consolidating at lower levels only. But then not a very respite news, because of course that's the another tension which seems to be coming in because of the crude, which is what we saw, that it has risen 1%.
Well, absolutely. That really is the handover that we're seeing shape up for the oil markets. Let's take a quick look at gold as well, because prospect of big Fed rate cuts is also keeping gold at record levels, and those are the kind of levels that we're seeing. So in terms of price levels, 2,580 is where gold is at. So that largely is the handover coming in from oil as well as gold. But let's take a quick look at global cues then. And when you take a look at cues coming in from the US, then you have the Fed meet that is beginning from today. Like we've told you time and again, that is the one that we've been watching out for. And there's business inventories data as well as industrial production and retail sales data from the US. So that is the one that we're watching out for. From Japan, there's tertiary index activity data as well. And in terms of other events, host of other events to watch out for. PM Modi will be visiting Bhubaneswar, and that's the one that we're watching out for. And the Supreme Court will be hearing the suo motu case for the Kolkata rape case, and that is the one verdict, and that is the one commentary that we're really watching out for. And there's BCCI settlement as well. Now, the Supreme Court will be hearing Byju's case, and beleaguered Byju's has been in the spotlight. So any commentary coming out of that judgment and that verdict from the Supreme Court will be in the spotlight as well. And Kejriwal will be resigning as Delhi Chief Minister as well, and that resignation, of course, has been in the forefront, and that has been in the spotlight, Priyanka.